Welcome to BookWorthy. Today we're talking with Nancy Tupper Ling about her poetry compilation, Bless the Earth, a poetry collection for children to celebrate and care for our world. Bless the Earth shows the miracle of our planet Earth through beautiful imagery and delightful poetry, calling all people, young and old, to care for our wonderful world. Welcome to BookWorthy, Nancy.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to meet you.
It is a pleasure. I love how technology allows us to connect with people that we probably would never meet face to face. And so it's a really unique.
It's great.
It is. But first we need to tackle the random question of the week. And since fall is all around us, do you prefer apple cider or pumpkin spice lattes?
I'm in New England too, so I would say pumpkin spice lattes now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's surprising. I had a switch at some point in life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, what is it? Several people that I've interviewed before that live up in kind of the northeast. Yes, that side. That since you can have apple trees up there, that apple cider is kind of a big deal because down here in the South, we have to import our apples.
Oh, I need to send you some.
Please do, because we don't get the good stuff down here. So, but pumpkin spice latte is kind of the first kickoff of fall around here. When that starts hopping in the stores, then we're like, okay, it's finally fall.
Yes, they start around July, right?
At least wait till September, but we don't really feel fall until November. So
That's true. That's true.
Too fun. Well, Nancy, tell us a little bit about your book, Bless the Earth.
Oh, thank you so much. So this is my fourth book with June Cotner, who is my mentor, actually. And then at one point she asked if I wanted to write books with her. So that was amazing. So this is the fourth one, and it is really a collection of poems from living poets and deceased poets. So I like that it has a majority of them are from people who are contributors, who are alive and well, and bring a fresh voice to the book. And it's really for children and families to appreciate the wonders of this earth that we're living on. So
it is a very beautiful collection, and I love how there's so many different types of poetry, and then the illustrations are just amazing. That I know my kids could sit there and just stare at the illustrations as I'm reading the poems, because poetry kind of comes in and out of fashion,
right,
and it's really neat to see that it's coming back in style. What do you think drives poetry to be something that comes in and out of seasons?
That's a good question. I just think, we've had some younger poets too. I think having teachers feel more comfortable teaching it, or parents in the classroom and reading it, is helpful too. I think a lot of times people were more afraid of, how do I teach poetry, or just have that week of poetry in April. And, I think people are becoming more comfortable with it. It's fun that there's like fun poems too. It's not all serious and dark. There's light, joyful poems too. So I think you can find, it's not all one thing. You can find the kind of poetry that you like to read. So that's good.
It has been neat to see how there are more, I guess, poets now. It's becoming a thing in a sense, or like I said, back in style, because there are modern day poets, and while a lot of children's books, there's a lot of poetry in children's books, but I love that your book is focused on all kinds of different types of poetry, all pointing to the glory of creation and the glory of our world. What inspired you to make this kind of the focal point of the book?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting start to how we began the proposal for this, because June Cotner actually had done an adult book sort of in a similar vein. It was called Earth Blessings. And so she just really wanted, I had more the children's writing background. So combined, we were like, we need to write something for kids to help with their appreciation as well. And then we started thinking about the how we would divide the chapters, and I think that really helped define the book too. One of them is like dreams for your world and how you would care for the world, and also animals big and small, which is always fun. You always need some animals in there. So I think once we kind of fleshed that out, the chapters, it kind of took a direction for where the book was going to go.
Very neat. How does, how does God speak to you through nature?
Definitely through, walking through nature. I'm sure with you too, things just come to you, and you're walking and you're praising at the same time for the wonders big and small that you see. And I think as a poet, or a writer, you're noticing things that maybe other people might just walk by, like, oh, look at that Queen Anne's lace. That's amazing how that was created and made, and all the intricacies. And so I don't know if I just answered your question, but that's definitely how I feel like, it's kind of, the word is powerful, obviously, in the Bible, and the word is powerful today for us. And when I'm out in nature, I just feel that connection to God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, what is it, Romans 1:20, talking about how all creation, declares who God is. And I think, taking the time to appreciate nature, and, even just getting in the garden every once in a while, and you just find all those bizarre little creatures that you're like, God even cares about you, little thing. Like, that's really just bizarre.
I know my oldest is fearful of slugs, and like, oh, I guess those are important too.
They have a purpose.
Yeah.
Or what is it? You mentioned Queen Anne's lace, and we have a lot of that around us. And so it's kind of fun to kids to be like, wow, those are so pretty. It's like, yep, it's a weed though. And they're like, but it's so pretty. I'm like, I know. A weed is just a plant that hasn't found its place yet.
Oh,
and so
I like that.
It's really cute just to have kids think a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun because, I mean, there are some really beautiful weeds, just not in my grass.
Yeah. Exactly. We need a book about weeds.
There we go. There we go. Well, what do you hope to communicate to kiddos in this book, Nancy?
I think the subtitle helps a lot with that. And I have to look because it's long. But it is a collection of poetry for children in celebration and care for our world. And that aspect of stewardship, really, for me, when compiling this, was important. That sometimes we forget that we're not just here to, drive around to our job and the next appointment, and to really take time to, like you said, to see the wonder, and to think about different ways, whether it's through gardening or walks in nature or caring for something in your town. I think that's all important. And hopefully, in some ways, I feel like poems are like power-packed pieces of literature, and so maybe it brings to mind an emotion about caring that some other essay or something might not quite do. So
Poetry definitely does have that power to communicate a very big truth or a big emotion in a small moment. And, for kids, kind of fast and furious is is the way they move. So sometimes to really connect and get them to understand a concept, poetry is an easier way to communicate with kids because it is so rich, and where you could totally read through it and say, oh, this is really sweet and this is really cute. And then you could sit with it longer and be like, oh, this really is something to really ruminate on and to, soak into your soul. I think that's what I love about poetry.
Yeah. You said it so well. I love it. I need to take notes.
Me too, because I'm like, what? I'm just talking. But Nancy, do you have any other resources or anything that go along with this compilation?
Yes, something I think you can access through my website too, but Penguin Random House is the big owner of Convergent, who is the publisher, and they put together some fun poetry exercises. And I don't know, this is sort of a big term, but I love acrostic poetry. So they took some of the pictures and the illustrations from the book and said, what would you write about this scene? So I think that's a good exercise. And also just thinking about certain words that come to mind when you look at different colors, which is fun because I know you like your colors.
I do.
So
Well,
yeah, those are some resources that are out there through the publisher too.
very neat. And I do love how you have so many different types of poetry. Like you said, acrostic poems, and you have some longer poems and shorter
Mm.
poems. It really is a great resource to study different types of poetry. And I think, what is it? I was not expecting that when I pulled it up, because usually if you grab a poetry book, there usually is kind of a poet's favorite type of
Yes. Yeah.
poem throughout.
Mhm.
And so it was neat to see all different types, and, allowing my heart to just kind of be like, oh, okay, I could sit here a little bit longer, or I could sit here short, and it's
Right.
really fun.
That's true. When you're really busy, find the short poem.
Yes. How did you find all the people and poets that you had participate in this book?
So June my co-editor has done about 40 anthologies. So she has a good list of contributors that we send out a call to. But also, I should say here, if anyone wants to be added to that list, definitely let us know, because we do send out a call um, when the proposal has been accepted. So we have a certain amount that we collect for the proposal, maybe say 25 of them, and then we send out the call and ask for more contributors or anyone to submit. And of course, we have, like you said, some of the key poets that are more famous as well, like Emily Dickinson we have, or Christina Rossetti. So we have some of those tried and true as well as the backbone. But I do really love that, it's just fun to see the fresh ideas and poems that are coming in that have never even been written before. I mean, some people just write because they see the topic. Oh, bless the earth. That sounds interesting. Maybe I'll whip up a poem. you know. So it's kind of really the cool part about the editing job is to see what comes in.
I bet that's both, challenging and exciting to, both see poetry, since it is such a challenging way of communicating, because there are so many rules and forms you need to fit in, even though it is a, sense of expression and art also. So is poetry something that's always been easy for you?
I have definitely worked hard at it with anything, even with writing for children. Like, I've always taken workshops. I've always tried to learn more. It did feel like it was one of my first more natural forms, but ironically, my mom's a poet, and her name's Jean Tupper, and she's still alive and well at 86 and writing poems. And I told her when I was a ornery teenager that I'm never going to write poems because it's your thing, and I'm going to write short stories and novels. And then I went away to college, and the first thing I started to write was poetry. So
Because God has a funny way of using
yes,
our nevers to direct us.
so true, so true. So,
So,
but
yep.
it's been nice to have her support, and she's a great editor too. So that's been really a wonderful connection between the two of us. So I would,
Very fun.
yeah.
Now, did you always want to be a writer, Nancy?
I think I did. I remember when I was, in fourth grade, saying, when they ask you what you want to do, it was either a veterinarian, which nobody knows how hard that is in fourth grade,
That was on my list.
or, I did say author, and it did seem to be like you asked about if it was like a natural, I think it did seem to come more easily to me than some other things like math. But I also, like to encourage, there's so many good workshops that are available, especially like with technology online now. So I belong to a number of writers groups that have been really helpful in, for example, writing children's books. You have the idea, but to learn that, there's 16-page spreads and 32 pages in the book, and where you imagine each page will turn, like all those things are things that I had to learn along the way that I had no idea about. So
I know, what is it? People say that, or people think, not all people, but it is kind of a general thought that children's books are easier than a full-length novel. But I like to say that, a children's book is really challenging because you have to get an entire novel into 32 pages. And so it's one of those, until you try it, you kind of like, oh, this is so simple. It's like, oh, no.
and cutting out those words. And I think for me, having the poetry that I started with, that really helped to condense the words, and that has helped with the children's writing too.
Very neat. Now, what's one of the most impactful books in your life, Nancy, other than the Bible?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Like, we could all say that.
Yeah, we can all say that.
The Bible. There's so many books, so that one's always going to be at the top of the list. But
yes, are you children's or adult, or does it not matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, I'm probably really strange, but I have read Moby Dick 4 times.
Holy cow!
And I can't get one person in my family to read it once. So that tells you how odd I am. But maybe it's the New England feel. I live not too far from New Bedford and the whaling, and but just I feel like there's so much that Melville said in that book about God, about rebelling against God, about pride. I just think it's kind of like Milton. There's so much depth to Moby Dick that I can go back and find more. And then my family's like, please don't.
It is a very poetic book, and it is very beautiful. But yes, getting through all of it is
very long.
It's very long.
And everyone skips over all the seafaring terminology, and I can understand that too. I skip sometimes, but Ahab is such a, I don't know,
rich character.
Yeah, very rich. Like nobody.
And we can all connect to that character. Like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Right. But in terms of children's books, I would say Kate DiCamillo. I love her stories, and The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane is one of my favorites because I think there's like a really redemptive arc there that I love. So
she's amazing. I'm always just blown away by her books, just the vast range of topics as well as just the heart behind it all. They're all always so sweet.
Yeah.
Now, what can we expect next from you, Nancy?
I have one that's coming out, a picture book that actually started as a poem. It was a poem in the anthology For Every Little Thing, and it's called Hearts in My Pocket, and it's about a child trying to handle a divorce situation in her family, and trying to see if the love is still there when she's going between homes now. And I'm kind of surprised that this came from me, but I'm really excited about it too. I think it handles the whole situation quite delicately. So
that is a hard thing to both talk about and for kids to understand. So I love that you're stepping into a space that affects a lot of families, and just helping them navigate just the emotion and the confusion that comes with divorce. And so that's sounds like a really special book. I can't wait. When do you think that one is going to be hitting the shelves? Or is that unknown?
Yeah, it's slotted for December of this year.
Okay.
My husband always says, please emphasize that we're not getting a divorce. We've been married 30 years. And I think we're still hanging in there. So
I guess that is a very important aside.
Yeah. Don't want rumors.
Right. But it's one of those. We have a divorce that's happened recently in our extended family, and it is just amazing how it doesn't just affect those involved. It does have a ripple effect through, the whole family. And it is both sad and, hard and all those things. And to help kids understand that love still remains is hard to see sometimes in all the ups and downs of divorce. But it is such a sweet message because, what is it? Even in any fallenness, God still loves us and his love remains. And so I love that.
That's true. That's true. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. That's like, ooh, I'm going to have to pick that one up. Well, Nancy, where can people find out more about you and your books?
Oh, thank you. Probably the best place to start is just my website, which is my full name, nancytupperling.com. And you can go from there to everywhere else.
Very neat. I definitely will have that in the show notes so that people can find you easily.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Nancy, so much for joining us today.
It was my pleasure. I love talking with you, Valerie. You made it so easy.
I try.
Here's to pumpkin latte.
There you go. Cheers. And thank you for joining Nancy and me on this episode of the BookWorthy podcast. Check the show notes for any books or links that we discussed, and let us know in the comments if you prefer apple cider or pumpkin spice lattes. Be sure to like and subscribe so we can discover more great books together. Happy reading!